Amid COVID-19, coronavirus, pandemic, the Rona, whatever you want to call it, is it a good idea to buy a house? We have the founders of Milano-Rambarran Team at the Halstead and the organization by Women in Real Estate, Candice Milano and Melissa Rambarran. How you both doing?
Hey, ladies.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, great to see you guys. Look, young people nowadays, I mean, they're all in a crunch. Right? The dream is always to own something, whether it's a condo for people like me or a big house for people like David. But it's not exactly affordable for a lot of the young people. Is 2020 still a good time for people like our viewers to consider buying properties?
Right. Look, 2020 began very good for the real estate market. We were very busy. We were at the peak. Sales volumes were up. And of course, coronavirus happened, right? In the midst of COVID, life as we know it paused, right? Transactional activity, of course, trended negative since the start of this crisis. We've seen from the second week of March until about April that we're actually leveling out, and we are 61% below that of last year's figure. That said, it is a buyer's market, right? Deals are getting done, but is it being done in a traditional way? No, but we have very low interest rates right now. We've been having we've been getting very creative, right? For a lot of our projects, we actually launched 2 new development projects here, one in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and one in Gramercy. And we've been getting very creative in some of the incentives. For example, we have a buyer guarantee program where a lot of, buyers, they have the ability to move forward sight unseen, and then once they see the product, they have the ability to actually rescind or go hard on their contracts. So, there have been a lot of great deals that we're seeing. Again, it's not traditional, but deals are getting done. Zoom is now a household name, right?
So one of the things I notice about property ownership is that time flies, right? And when you rent, a year goes by, and then rents always go up here in New York. Can you tell us a little bit of why, it's kind of always the right time to buy? That's what I think. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's actually very great because, again, you're building equity when you buy, again, for that same monthly rent that you're paying, right? You put that towards, especially now that the contract deposit for a lot of our projects, we've actually decreased it from 10% to actually 5%. So now is actually a really, really great time to really buy. And again, with that low interest rate, I mean, the same amount that you're paying in rent, you could probably put that towards owning a property.
I mean, if right now the amount of deposit is being, cut in half, essentially you said 5% down from 10%, how is the real estate industry as a group guaranteeing or nearly guaranteeing we're not going to run into the mortgage crisis that we witnessed in 2008 again?
Did you hear us?
Hello?
Hello? Did you get that?
I cut out, actually. Could you please repeat?
Yes, of course. So you said that right now the down payment essentially is cut in half. Right now, some sellers, they're like, oh, I'll take 5% instead of 10% or more. Then in that sense, how is the real estate industry guaranteeing or nearly guaranteeing that we're not going to repeat the mortgage crisis all over again?
Right. That said, look, we're not mortgage brokers and we can't really speak on that. We can only speak on the sales aspect of things, right? But again, this is just towards, you still have, I think that's a question for a mortgage broker. Unfortunately, we're not really at liberty to really discuss that.
Okay, so Ms. Milano, what are some do's and don'ts for renting and buying in a big city? Tell us.
So right now, we've seen a shift in demand from both renters and buyers. And right now we're seeing a premium for homes that have, private outdoor space, that have some sort of an alcove to work from home. So those are definitely going to be among some of your do's that you're going to want to look for. Definitely, people are putting a focus on some of larger homes than they had before because, prior to COVID, people were not spending as much time at home. As far as some of the don'ts, we're definitely still not able to see property in person. So you're going to want to still stick to, looking virtually and trying to coordinate getting videos of the homes if you're, in the process of looking for either a purchase or a rental. So, but again, things are going to be changing soon for the positive. So hopefully we'll be able to start back some live showings soon.
Yeah, and people are buying home sight unseen. Is this true? These aren't rumors?
They are. So, back to Melissa's point before, this is obviously an unprecedented time. So it's required us to come up with creative tactics to get buyers to feel confident enough to buy sight unseen. So one of the ways is back to Melissa's point about the buyer satisfaction guarantee, which basically gives them the right to rescind if once they see the product, if they feel that it wasn't what they had hoped for, or otherwise then they can choose to move forward. So that's one creative way that we've come up with it. And also for rentals, we're seeing a lot more renting sight unseen because again, it's less of a commitment. It's a shorter term that you'll be in the apartment. So people are a little bit more comfortable renting sight unseen, knowing that, worst case, they're only in it for about a year or so.
Yeah. And one last thing I have a question for both of you ladies really quick, which is real estate. It's one of those jobs that there's still a barrier of entry, but it's not like a doctor. You don't have to go to med school for it, right? And then I've seen real estate brokers, they came from all walks of life, all walks of life. Right now, because our, early 20-something viewers, they are entering into, again, a nightmarish job market. If they're interested in real estate, what is something they should do differently from their, previous upperclassmen to get started to do what you do?
Yeah, I think now's a great way to actually get into real estate because again, we're in unprecedented times, right? And I think now is a great way to really build a brand and really stand out from your peers. And there are a lot of opportunities, and I think Candace can speak more on that.
Yeah, I was just going to add in that, COVID has definitely created opportunity. It's created a lot of downtime so that you can really educate and learn about the business in a way that you may not have had the opportunity before. It'll give you the chance to actually get licensed and also to take advantage of some of the turnover that we've seen happen in the business. So definitely if you find that you're more entrepreneurial and you're self-driven in creating your own book of business, then we definitely think there's opportunity to become very successful in real estate.
Okay. Candace and Melissa, thank you for dialing in.
Thank you for having us.